Okay, this video is going to look at supply. We're keeping it nice and simple like all the other videos. Right, so a unit is considered to be in supply if it has a supply route to a supply point, usually a base, and that point is in a supply grid. Now, supply is determined at various points in the game. It's determined before operational movement, it's determined before combat, it's determined before repairs phase, and it's also determined before retrograde movement. Now, the effect of being out of supply is you can only move at half speed, you can only fight at half strength, you're not allowed to use extended reaction radiuses, and you're not allowed to conduct retrograde movement. One sort of oddball is the fact that bases like star bases, battle stations, stellar fortresses, base stations are all able to supply units in their hex, even if the actual base itself is not in supply. As we've said, to be in supply you need to trace a supply route to a supply point. Now, a supply route is a chain of no more than 6 hexes, not including the hex the unit is in, but including the hex containing the supply point. A supply point is a friendly battle station, star base, mobile base, convoy, tug serving a supply point, or planet which is in part of a supply grid. Right, a supply grid, you can have 2 types. Main supply grids are traced from the home world or an off world, say the home world with the Lyrans there, or an off-world area, and they consist of a chain of supply points. Each can be up to 6 units, 6 movement points apart. So, for example, I could chase a mains grid from there to there, and then from there to there, which is 4, and I just keep extending it. Okay. The other type of supply grid is a partial supply grid. Now, partial supply grids work exactly the same as main supply grids, except they do not trace supply from a home world or an off-world board area. Partial supply grids, yet again, they can consist of chains of up to 6 things from one supply point to another, but they can only supply based on their economic strength. So, for example, a main planet, one of these big ones like here, was in a partial grid, it could supply 5 economics points worth of supply. So it could supply 5 units. Other things that are available are convoys. Like each side has a set of convoy markers, and these act as extenders, so they can extend a partial grid or a main grid up to another 6 hexes. That's pretty much it for supply. As I said, keeping it simple, because there are a lot of rules on supply for various different scenarios.